Luis Enrique was asked who represents the Barcelona style better. Is it Xavi Hernandez or is it Luis Enrique? And this is what the PSG coach did say. Without a doubt, me. Look at the possession data, the high pressures, the titles. There are others who look at it differently. They are numbers. It is not something that can be discussed. And so I'm going to assume that he's just talking about this season because I have no idea on whether he's talking about the history of both coaches or if he's talking about the past 2 seasons. Let's just assume that he's talking about this season specifically. And I do believe that it would be the most fair way to compare the 2 coaches. And let's begin talking about the possession. In the Champions League, PSG have been averaging a total of 65% of the possession. Barcelona do have 59% of the possession, meaning that Barcelona are in 3rd place, PSG are in 2nd, and Man City are in 1st. Regardless whether Barcelona is positioned in 5th, 4th, 3rd, it does not matter. To be in the top 5 is already good enough, but the fact that PSG are over Barcelona in terms of possession, then yes, Luis Enrique is right. When it comes to this part of the game, PSG are more dominant. Look at the match between Barcelona versus Napoli where Barcelona won 3-1. Barcelona had 49% of the possession against Napoli, yet Barcelona still won 3-1. So when it comes to just having the conversation of the Barcelona DNA and the possession, yes, PSG is better. I would also like to add the directness of both teams, because when we do talk about the Barcelona DNA, when you are so concerned about possession, it does lead to you being less direct. Xavi Hernandez, because he's not so concerned when it comes to the possession because PSG are better, Xavi Hernandez is actually much more direct than both Pep Guardiola and Luis Enrique. And that is what leads towards Xavi Hernandez's Barcelona having less possession than both teams, which makes complete sense. We can say that maybe Xavi Hernandez has taken inspiration from Luis Enrique when Luis Enrique was coaching Barcelona back in 2015 and they won the treble. The reason why Lucho was so good with Barcelona at that time was because they were so direct, and it was mainly because of the players that Luis Enrique did have. With Messi, Suarez, Neymar, Rakitic, all they did was pass the ball into the front 3 and let the front 3 dictate how the attack was going to go. This Barcelona that we see today, yes, is more direct than Man City, PSG, and the previous Barcelonas that we have seen over the past 4 to 5 years. This is simply what Xavi Hernandez's football is at the moment, and I feel like one of the main reasons why we're like this is because we lack a CDM that can retain the ball and be reliable on the ball like Sergio Busquets, and point number 2, we don't have ball holders in the front 3. Rafinha and Lewandowski are not ball holders at all. They're 2 players that do like to attack spaces. Rafinha likes to attack spaces from the left flank or from the right flank and make those runs. Lewandowski is a player that likes to make quick runs into the box to receive the ball and take a one-touch shot into the net. Xavi Hernandez is simply adjusting his game plan based off the players that he does have. The only player that is able to retain the ball and to retain possession from the attacking line, it is either Lamine Yamal or Joao Felix. But besides that, everybody else are players who are not really meant to retain the ball for a very long time. We just talked about a few videos ago on how Barcelona approached Atletico Madrid. That was one of the greatest examples on what Barcelona is today and what Xavi Hernandez is trying to do. Remember, when we fielded a midfield of Gundogan, Fermin Lopez, and Sergi Roberto, Xavi Hernandez knew that he could not retain possession for a very long time with a midfield like that. We lacked a pivot, we lacked a real second central midfielder on that night, and so what he decided to do was to just have long balls go into the front 3, from the defensive line all the way to the attacking line. Just skip the whole midfield, become very direct. And fortunately for Barcelona, it ended up working out because we had the correct profiles in order to do so. So yes, again, Luis Enrique could be right when it comes to the directness, who has more possession, but in the end, it has benefited Barcelona and Xavi Hernandez because of the predicaments that we were in at those times. And I find it so fascinating that Xavi Hernandez can adapt his team to whatever it does need. And this is probably one of the reasons why I want Xavi Hernandez to continue, is because he is a problem solver. So now that I think about it, I feel like Luis Enrique has been complimenting Xavi Hernandez for saying a statement like this. So now let's move on towards the chance creation. As you can see here, there are 4 different metrics. It is the expected goals, shots on target per match, big chances, and touches in the opponent's box. In the expected goals, PSG is better. Barcelona have less. Barcelona are below PSG when it comes to expected goals, but it's funny how Barcelona have more goals than PSG. But overall, you can see that PSG have created more chances, which is why their expected goals are higher than Barcelona. When it comes to shots on target per match, Barcelona are in 3rd place and PSG are nowhere near the top 5. So we can say that Barcelona, once they do have those chances, they're able to be very effective. And that's one of the things that Xavi Hernandez's Barcelona have really improved on. Moving on to big chances, PSG overall created more big chances than Barcelona. Barcelona, I believe, are in 7th or 8th place. I think that in time, if Barcelona continue to go further into the Champions League, they can catch up into the top 5. Moving on towards the touches in the opponent's box, Barcelona are in 2nd place, just below Man City. City. PSG are in 4th place. And so we can see here that maybe Barcelona and PSG, when it comes to creating chances, they are very even. Moving on to the metric of playing out from the back. I think that we don't even need to bring in data for this. I think that Barcelona are simply just much better when it comes to playing out from the back, mainly because we have better technical players. We talked about this recently in the previous 2 videos. Barcelona, when they do get pressed, do not ever find it hard to come out of that press. Like Barcelona are really good with Kubarsi, Koundé, Cancelo, Gundogan, and with Frankie, Barcelona cannot be touched and everything just looks so smooth. One of the examples that I would like to give you guys, but I can't really put the video here because I don't want to get flagged, but it's basically that play that was made before Rafinha scored the goal that was disallowed against Las Palmas. Go look at that play that Barcelona displayed and you guys will know exactly what I mean when it comes to the opponent pressing us and we can play out from the back with ease and create a goal scoring opportunity. So Barcelona do have the upper hand. When it comes to pressing high and becoming physical and winning the 1v1 duels, which is another aspect of the Barcelona DNA, you can see here, according to data MB, that Barcelona are actually superior when it comes to physicality and even with pressing, just by a little. PSG by no means are a physical team, which is the reason why they don't really press like that. Barcelona are much better, so I expect for Barcelona when they do face PSG to really press PSG extremely high and win the ball a lot. Players like Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Gundogan, Frankie de Jong, Christensen are going to give Luis Enrique's team a very tough time. So I think that in this aspect of the game, Barcelona do have the upper hand. And so look, I can see why Luis Enrique would say something like this about how his Barcelona football is better than Xavi. I understand that. I'm not even mad about this statement that Luis Enrique put out. There are some aspects of the game where Luis Enrique is better in. Xavi Hernandez gave out his response to what Luis Enrique did say, and this is what Xavi said. I believe that what Luis Enrique was trying to do was to defend PSG. Both are trying to achieve the same objective. He has the DNA, and so do I. It's not a matter of talk. Let's see who can demonstrate it on the pitch. We both look for the same thing. Press high, retain the ball, generate chances, offensive football. And that is going to be like the biggest debate, right? Like I know that we just compared Barcelona and PSG this season, who has the best Barcelona DNA, but the true test is going to be who can show it on the pitch. Because what would be the whole point of showing who's better based off these numbers, right? If you cannot do it against a team that you're trying to be like. Like if PSG really want to own the Barcelona style, right? The Barcelona DNA, then show us on the pitch that you can overcome the team that created the way that you do play. Xavi Hernandez continued to say, there are 4 managers in the Champions League that represents the Barcelona style, which is me, Pep Guardiola, Arteta, and Luis Enrique. That says a lot about us. And so it's crazy, right? Because stepping away from this match, I want to talk about like these fans of PSG. It's crazy how these PSG channels have been talking down on Barcelona and how these ultras of PSG have claimed that they're bigger than Barcelona and that they want to belittle us. When the reality is, the reason why PSG are even relevant today and why we're even talking about them competing in the quarterfinals is because a Barcelona coach carried that PSG team. If anything, PSG want to be like Barcelona because of the coach that they do have. And yet you want to have these fans of PSG wanting to belittle us and talk down on us. This whole Champions League tournament, like what Xavi did say, is surrounded by coaches that want to have the Barcelona DNA. We're getting the last laugh because the fact that PSG fans and these ultras want to talk down on the creator of all this, which is Barcelona, I just find it so contradicting. The reporter continued to ask Xavi Hernandez on what is his relationship with Luis Enrique, and this is what Xavi Hernandez said. I spoke to him 2 weeks ago. I am lucky to have a good relationship with him and the staff. Nothing has changed. I know Luis Enrique very well. I understand his response because there is a lot of tensions within the press. If you're looking for controversy, there isn't. And that is why I don't take Luis Enrique's statement so serious. Like, what else is he going to say? He's not going to be saying, yes, I favor Barcelona. I'm going to be taking Kylian Mbappe out from the starting 11 because I want Barcelona to go to the next round. Of course, Luis Enrique is going to be saying, I have shown that I have the Barcelona DNA much better than Xavi Hernandez, right? It's part of his character. He made a bold statement. He did it before at Barcelona. He makes bold statements all the time. It's the reason why many fans in general, football fans in general, love Luis Enrique. And I believe the reason why the press even asked Luis Enrique a question like that in the first place was because they wanted to divide Xavi Hernandez and Luis Enrique even more. Like, why ask who is showing the Barcelona DNA better? Why? Let's just celebrate the fact that the football that Barcelona believe in is now infecting and getting injected into other clubs out there in Europe. Because in the end, Barcelona are the real winners here. And many of the fan bases around the world should respect that. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.